All right. All right, we're gonna go ahead and start just so I don't spend up too much of your guys' Monday night. I know you guys all have very exciting things to do. Oops. If we haven't met before, my name is Mac. It's short for Michaela. I'm sure we've emailed back and forth, but nice to unofficially meet everybody. Tonight, we're just going to go over kind of the most basic things that you need or will want to know going into your season. So hopefully my goal is that if you've coached before and know everything, or you've never coached or played soccer in your life, you'll leave feeling like you are adequately informed and have a good grasp of what's going on. So I just ask that if you have any questions, we'll have a time for questions at the end, but 90% most likely it's going to be answered in the slideshow. So just hold it until the end, and then if you still don't know, you still have a question, then we can go over that. All right, let's jump in. So I just kind of wanted to share Loudoun's mission and philosophy. So it says to create soccer players, coaches, and teams of strong character committed to achievement on the field and in our community. So even at our youngest level, first and second grade, you guys as coaches are kind of the front runners for this. You guys are able to create this environment where not only are we on the field developing and playing soccer, but we're, learning how to be good people, how to be good sportsmanships, right? Things like that. So our motto is kind of developing champions for life, both champions on the soccer field, but also champions in our personal lives and who we are and how we act. So some of our core values, the first one, right? So our main priority, right, is fun, right? At this level in this program, players are here to have a good time, to enjoy what they're doing, to be with their friends, to do something they love, right? So everything that we do, whether it's on my end or you guys as coaches, should be to create an environment where that's the priority, right? Integrity, character, fairness, good sportsmanship, teamwork, stewardship. These are all things that we as adults have the ability to create and just do it for these kids. So when they step onto the soccer field, whether it's at practice or at games, these are the things that we show them are our priorities, right? Our priority isn't to go and win every game. It's to have fun. It's to be a good person, to be fair, right? Those are our priorities. So let's see. So just kind of an overview of what we're going to talk about. We just talked about Loudoun soccer, kind of a background. What is it? Key contacts, who to contact for what. Sometimes you don't know who to ask questions to, who's the best outlet. So we'll go over that. Key policies, kind of what the expectations are, most basic rules, right? If you have never coached before, maybe you weren't even planning to coach, but you got 4, 5, 8 of my emails saying we're short coaches and here you are. You're probably going to want to know how to play. What are the rules? What are the expectations? So we're going to go over that too. Then key policies, communicating with your team. What does that look like? And then just the format and rules. So kind of what I just talked about. Zoom etiquette is going to be recorded. So if you want to look back and watch this later, you can. Just ask that you guys keep your mics muted so that everyone can hear what's going on. And then again, we'll ask questions at the end. So just hold off on those. So just a little bit about Loudoun Soccer. It's a full service soccer organization. So what that means is that no matter who you are, if you want to play, there's probably something for you, right? Whether you are 3 and you're in our micros program, or you're 60 and you're in our adult co-ed league, or over 40, whatever it is, we have an organization where we have a program for kids with special needs. If you want to play, we probably have something for you. So that's what that means. And then we're professionally operated and we're volunteer driven. So there's people like me, like Darren, who we operate things, right? We're paid to make things run smoothly, but then we're volunteer driven, right? Like this program would not work without volunteers, without you guys, right? Our coaches are not paid. They're not the most experienced, but they're here and you guys are passionate to get your kids and other kids on the field. So I just want to take a second and thank you for saying yes, right? Whether you were gung-ho from the beginning or it took some convincing, you're enabling these kids to be in the soccer field and to have a good fall season. So just thank you for that yes that you gave to be a part of the program. Some things that you guys should know and that you guys will probably want to communicate with your team. We have a lot of year-round opportunities, right? A lot of people think it's just the fall and spring season that we have, but we have a lot of other things that are available for you guys. Primarily our fall and spring season, but we have supplemental programs. And for you guys, there will be a slide next that talks about it, but we have our RECTTA program, which is Friday nights, and then we have All-Stars that you can join too. And then we have summer camps and winter clinics, right? So we have winter kind of indoors. Those are not parent coaches, but they're like paid, most of the time travel coaches, sometimes not. But so in theory, if you wanted to be like, hey, I want to give my kid an opportunity to kind of learn a little more from somebody who knows a little bit more, those would be two good opportunities for you. And then one-day events, you have holiday camps, free day play, things like that that you can register for. And these will all be advertised on our website. You'll get emails about it. But just so you know up front, these things are all available for all of you. Then we just talked about RECTTA and Rec All-Stars. Those are things you can sign up for. RECTTA registration is open now. So if you want to go on and register, you can. Okay, so key contacts. This is kind of who to contact with what. I'm kind of the scapegoat for everything. So if you have a question, I can probably find your answer for you, or I'll know the answer for you. But a lot of times my inbox gets really, really full. And so just to be a little more specific, if you have any question about fields, about practice schedules, about any of that, you're going to want to contact Jamie, because Jamie does all that. So that's kind of a more direct line for you guys. So if you want to write that down, because most of the time, if you email me about that, I'm just going to forward it to Jamie anyway. So that's good to know for you guys. And then if you have another player who is in 3rd grade or up, Karen Corp runs those programs. So that's your line of contact for that. And then Darren kind of oversees everything. So if you need somebody above me, above Karen, above Jamie, you can't get answers from any of us, then Darren's kind of your next go-to. Okay, and then so whether you agreed to coach because you love it, or because you need your kid to play and they were on the wait list, a lot of the conversations I've had already with parents is, what do I do if I don't know a whole lot about soccer, or I don't have any coaching experience? And something that I've told everybody is that we'll have resources and materials for you. So if that's something that you're like, yes, I need that, this is the slide you're going to want to pay attention to. So if you go to loudonsoccer.com, we have all those resources and materials on our website. So it's going to be in the About tab, and the Coaches Info Center is where you're going to find all those. There's articles, there's all kinds of things, including session plans that are already made, and videos you can watch about how to teach something, how to coach something specific. So that's going to give you like everything that you need. And then if there's something that you have a question about, or you need help figuring out above that and like more so, then you can email me, and you can share the session plan with me, and I'd be like, well, this is what that means, and this is what you can do. But for the most part, you can find everything under that tab, and that's going to be kind of the best thing for you. Here are some really important dates that if you don't know already, you should definitely make a note of. So Thursday, the 25th, is going to be a Zoom call from 7 to 8 that you can join to meet a special topic that you guys can kind of learn more about. And then the 27th, so that's a Saturday, here at Loudoun Soccer Park, you're going to come and you can do two things. You're going to pick up your equipment for the season, because we know that not all of you guys have equipment laying around your house. So you pick up your equipment, and then you're also going to be able to watch a practice session run. And I think that's going to be super beneficial for you guys who maybe have never done it before, don't know what it looks like. You're going to be able to watch one so that you aren't going in blind, right? You're going to be like, oh, this is what it looks like. It's not that scary. It's not that hard. I can do that. And it kind of maybe be reassuring to you that really, like when we say anyone can do it, anyone can do. So just dates and times. The 27th, and then for you guys, it's going to be 10 a.m. on the field. So that's going to be your session. Then following after that at 11, it's going to be when you're going to get your equipment, and then you can go ahead and leave. And then on Sunday, the 28th, so if you can't make the 27th, you can come on the 28th from 9 to 11, and you can pick up. We'll have somebody here for that. And then if for some reason you can't make the 27th and you can't make the 28th, then just email me and I can figure out time to be here, or you can come during business hours and you can get it then. So there's 3 different options for you, and between all of them, you should be able to come get your equipment. So now we're just gonna go over some general reminders. So the team rosters came out on Friday. I'm sure you've all seen them already. They may change a little bit, especially if there was, some things that were missed. There's a lot of you. There's a lot of coaches. There's a lot of players. So sometimes things, slip under the radar and we have to fix them. So if you notice that your roster has changed a little bit, maybe, Jim was on there yesterday and he's not, and Sammy's on there now, that's okay. Just go off of your most recent up-to-date roster. So, yeah, so don't be worried if something changes. That was probably done on purpose. And then only players on your official roster may practice or play with your team. So like I said, whatever's the most up-to-date, so we should go off of. And then if anybody who's not on your roster shows up randomly, they can't practice with your team, right? Especially if it's somebody who isn't even like registered in the program. You can't just have random people showing up, and that's a lot to do with player safety. And we want to make sure we know who's on the field. But it even applies to, like, maybe somebody requested you as their coach and they didn't get in your team. They can't just show up to your practice. So let's just make sure we're knowing who's on our roster so we know who's supposed to be there. And then this one I want to make sure to note, because there's been a few instances of this already. Please don't promise players a spot on your team, and also don't promise them a spot on a different team. If there's something that somebody wants changed, or a request that didn't get made, if it can happen, if we can make it work, I will. But there's sometimes where we just can't do it. So if you promise something and we end up not being able to do it, that just creates a bigger problem. So if that is a situation, you come, a parent's like, we wanted you, but XYZ, loop me in, email me, and if I can figure it out, I'll do it. But just don't promise them and then come to me, because we may not be able to make it work. So, and then team officials. So coaches, this is what you are, your head coaches. Please make sure, just like kids shouldn't be showing up randomly to your field, parents shouldn't be showing up randomly to your field either. We don't want any random adults just coming. We want to make sure we know who's on the field, who they're with, and so that we want to just protect the kids that way. We don't want anything going wrong there. So anybody who wants to be on the field, whether it's a head coach, assistant coach, whatever, they need to go register as an assistant coach on the website. That way we have them in our system. And this goes for if you have to miss a game, or you're going to be out of town for something, or something comes up and you need one of your parents to fill in, they'll need to just go on really quickly and register as an assistant coach so that they're in our system. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, equipment. Hopefully you guys at this point, first grade, second grade, know kind of what the basic equipment is. Cleats, shin guards, socks, water, your jersey, right? Don't show up to your game wearing a yellow shirt when you're red or white, right? If, this might be a question that comes up, if you have somebody who registered late and didn't get their jersey order in on time, if it doesn't come before the first game, that's okay. They can wear any red or white shirt, but just make sure that if they have their jerseys, they're wearing those, and that should be good. For shoes, there are soccer shoes specific, right? They're not football or baseball shoes, and that's important because some baseball and football shoes have different components that we don't want, right? Some of them are metal studs, some of them have that stud at the top. So just make sure that people have the right type of shoe, because if not, that could cause injuries. So let's just make sure that, and that's really kind of the main thing. No jewelry. If anyone asks, I got my ears pierced tomorrow, probably not a great idea, because they're going to have to take them out if they play in the game. So this stuff is all kind of self-explanatory. If you have somebody on your team, or you maybe haven't gotten equipment yet, you need cleats, you need shin guards, it might be a good idea to wait until the 26th or the 29th here, because that's our Dick's Sporting Goods Day or weekend, and you'll be able to get a discount there. So that might be good to put in your welcome email to your team, is that date, because I'm sure a lot of them still have to get their stuff, and I'm sure a lot of them would like a discount. So that's a good date to keep in mind. Uniforms, we kind of talked about this. At the Rec 1 level, they need to be ordered. So if they haven't ordered yet, make sure that you do that as soon as possible. And then so in the kit, it's a red and white jersey, black shorts, and black socks. So if you get to the September 10th and you or someone on your team doesn't have it yet, just let them know, hey, you don't have to worry about it. Just wear a red shirt, black shorts, and black socks. And then when they get their jersey, they can wear it. Player awards, we will have medals to hand out. So you don't have to worry about going out and getting your own trophies. In the past, someone's email has been like, can I get trophies for my team? If you want to, you can, but we're going to have medals for them. So that's something to look forward to. It's going to be at the Fall Festival. So if you are in first grade and coached kindergarten last year, it's a little different, right? Last year at your Saturday session, we had them. This year for first and second grade, we have a Fall Festival, which is really fun. It's kind of like the Jamboree if you were in Rec 1 last year or last season. But on October 22nd, we have the Fall Festival, and you'll come by the check-in desk before, sign in, and we'll give you your medals, and then you can get them to your team. Here are just some safety reminders, some COVID things. So as far as on the field goes, we have no COVID protocols anymore. There's nothing you have to do before the game, something you have to do during the game. But if you test positive or you're in contact with someone test positive, make sure you email safetoplay@loudounssoccer.com, and then they'll tell you the procedure for that. But for the most part, we're good to go. And if you want to read more of the in-depth details, you can go to the Loudoun Soccer website, and they're still on there. Safe sport. So as coaches, this is the only training you really have to do, right? It says on your account, it says load your certificates. You don't have to do any of that. But the safe sport will need to be done before you can be on the field with kids. So just make sure if you haven't done that yet, go onto your account, make sure that gets done. If you have any questions, let us know, but that's something that needs to be done as soon as possible. Concussions, same as like any serious injury, concussions are very serious. So you want to make sure that we're paying attention. Anything can happen, right? You can get a concussion from falling and hitting your head on the ground. What we don't want to do is have that happen and then make it worse by playing. So first thing is if you think someone has concussion, have them stop, right? No Rec 1 game is important enough to have somebody continue playing to get that win and then have them, get worse. So have them come off, and then if their family isn't there or didn't see it, let them know, and then notify us here so that everyone's in the loop on that. And that's the same for any serious injury, right? If someone, breaks their leg at your practice or at a game, let us know, let their parents know. So that kind of just goes across the board. Some team communication stuff. So as the team coach, as the head coach, one of the most important things for you to do for us is just to make sure that your team is getting all the information that you're getting. So you're kind of the bridge in between us and your team parents. So if there's anything that happens that you guys need to know about, field closures, stuff like that, we're going to email you, we're going to let you know, and then we just ask that you continue on and let your team parents know. And then kind of the same way coming back, like if your team parents have a question, you're their first go-to, so they're going to ask you, and if you know the answer, great. If you don't, then you can ask us, and so forth. But yeah, the GameChanger app, this should be an app that makes your life easier. It should connect your Sports Connect account with the app so that you have your roster there, you have communication there, so everything should be able to go through that app, but it should make your life easy. If you have any troubleshooting that needs or you don't know what to do, you can go on the website and it has all the instructions for you. Okay, here are just a few more dates that you want to be aware of. So for Rec 1, you have practice once a week. So it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, which you put in your request. So if you go onto your account and you don't see the first week of practices in there, because you should have the schedule for the first week of practices. If it's not in there yet, that probably means Jamie didn't get your request, whether that's because you haven't given it yet or got lost in translation. So if you're wondering why there's no practice schedule, it's probably because of that. And I would just make sure Jamie gets that request and then she can put that in. But yeah, so it's one practice a week and then games on Saturdays. So practices begin August 29th. Saturday games start the 10th. And then October 22nd is that Fall Festival, which is going to be really fun. And that's the last day of the season. So we're going to close out with a big festival. There's going to be food trucks, all kinds of things. And that's something you're going to want to communicate to your families too, because sometimes if they don't know about it, they aren't there, and then it's a big thing they're missing, and it's no fun. So make sure they know about that. And then also, really, really important date is to know that the spring registration opens in mid to late November. So if you guys have been coaching for a while, or you just coached this year, you might know that you have lots of requests you want. You want your team to stay together. You want a specific, people on your team. The way to get that done the most is to register really early. So don't miss that date, because that's going to be important. And you're going to want to communicate that to your families as well. Here's a little bit more about the Fall Festival, what it is. It's a lot like that jamboree that we had in the spring. It's going to be at Loudoun Soccer Park, so all the games are going to be on the turf fields out here. You're going to have matchup versus other towns. You're going to receive your medals. You're going to celebrate the end of the season. So it's a good way just to close out everything. And so that's just something that you should look forward to. Anything weather related. Okay, this is just switching gears a little bit. If it's before your practice or your game and fields are closed or it's raining, you're going to be contacted from us. So if Saturday comes and it's Friday night and it's been raining, or rain is scheduled and you're wondering if fields are closed, your answer is, if you've heard, yes. If you have not heard, no. If you haven't heard from us, that means things are good and you should continue on. We're never not going to let you know if your game is canceled or fields are closed. So just look out for an email from us. And then if you are in your game or your practice and there's lightning or thunder, just know it's a 30-minute delay. So if your practice has just started and it lightnings, 30-minute delay, but then it's up to your discretion. If you only have 30 minutes left and it lightnings, you may just want to end practice early, and that's up to you. But the only thing we do ask is that you don't cancel your games or practices, before they happen on your own discretion, right? Wait for us to, make that call, and then you can communicate that to your team. Okay. Schedules. So schedules are going to be posted on the 31st. So if you're like, where's my game schedule? It's not posted yet. So you're not missing anything. And what you should do is you should check that before your games, just to make sure nothing has changed. We're not going to change anything without letting you know. But sometimes things happen. Sometimes there's a coach that's coaching two teams and they somehow got their games scheduled at the same time. We may have to change something. So it shouldn't happen all the time, but it may happen from time to time. So just make sure you're checking that regularly, and not just once at the beginning of the season and then never checking it again. So just, that's important to know. And then, you're going to yield to the referee. So for practices, if you see lightning, it's your call, but for games, your referee is going to be one who makes that call if the game is canceled or there's a delay or whatever. Game reschedules, like we just talked about, head coaches sometimes have multiple teams that need to be deconflicted. If that happens, just know that there's a lot of you, there's a lot of teams. Just let us know and we can work something out. We can rearrange some things. If a game gets canceled, we'll contact you about that, but we'll probably try and reschedule them. It may be during the week, it may be on our one makeup day. It'll be a case-by-case basis, but just, wait for an email. We will keep you in the loop. We will communicate with you. Yeah, and then if you have a conflict, here's kind of your process. If you have an assistant coach, he can cover your game. Just make sure you communicate with him. Don't just not show up. And then if that doesn't work, if your assistant coach also isn't going to be there, let me know and we can kind of talk about that. We can reschedule. We can find someone else to cover. Maybe a team parent can cover. What you should not do is contact the other coach and reschedule on your own. Just for things like that, just go through us, just so we know exactly what's going on and we can set you up. Practices. We got a lot of emails last year about coaches stealing people's practice fields, but they weren't stealing their practice fields. There's just 2 teams per field. So just make a note of this slide so you know exactly what to expect going into your practices. Each team has half a field, which means on one field, there's 2 teams. You're going to each one half, which means each team gets one of those goals on those fields. So we're just going to work together. There's a lot of teams, like we said, not as many fields as we have to give every single person their own team. If you do end up having your own field, that's great. Utilize it. It's not the norm, and it probably won't happen every week. It might be a fluke, maybe an off chance, maybe a team didn't show up. But just know that that's kind of the situation you're going into. Coaches, you're going to lead the sessions. If you need help, if you need session plans, again, on our website, have all those resources, all those materials. Utilize that. Use that. That's a really, really great thing for you guys to use. And then just some etiquette. Try and end like 5 minutes early so you guys can clean up and be off the field before the next team, because they're kind of, 5 to 6, 6 to 7 is tight. So you don't want to be the coach that lingers and takes into the coach's space. Vice versa. You don't want to be the coach that shows up and then starts practice early and takes up their space. So let's just be kind to each other and work together well. And then rainouts, you can contact Jamie Rawson to reschedule your practice. So there's that. Again, Jamie's going to do all the practice reschedules, all the practice, everything. Game day stuff. So here's your equipment, what to bring in your, basically just bring the bag of equipment we give you at the beginning of the season. For weather, again, don't cancel your games. It's going to be the referee's decision. It's 30 minutes delay. If your game gets delayed 30 minutes because of lightning, don't just stand around on the field. Go to your car, wait there. Pre-game stuff, just stuff for you to know so you can make sure to communicate the right things to your team. If you're the home team, it'll say whether you're home or away in your account. If you're home, you're going to wear red. If you're away, you're going to wear white. As the coach, I would arrive 20 minutes before your game time just to make sure that you're there before everyone else. Especially, I think, earlier on in the season, a lot of parents have no idea what's going on. So you're going to want to be there just to make sure that people get there on time. No one's lost. No one's wandering around. And then our suggestion is that you have players arrive 15 minutes early. That way you don't have 2 players there at the start of your game time and then have to start late, have a shorter game, have to start with 2 players. I would just have people get there early so that you can start on time with all your players. And then again, wait for your previous team to leave. Warm-ups, try and preserve the field. If there's space off the field, use that. There's a lot of, in the goal that grass gets torn up very easily, so try to avoid that area. And then be kind to the referee and to the other coach. Right? You want to kind of model the behavior we want our kids to model. So set the tone for everything and have it be positive, have it be kind, considerate, sportsmanship, all those stuff, all those core values we talked about. This is kind of how the layout goes. So this might be self-explanatory, but right, one team's over here, and then the spectators are over here. The other team's on the other half, the spectators on the other half. Just kind of how the layout is. Okay, so kind of what you want. So you don't want, what this is saying is you don't want your team to be set up over here, the corner. Kind of where you want to be is, as a coach, kind of where you're coaching from is from, this halfway line to the goal arc. You don't want to be all the way out here behind the goal. Just kind of know where you are, be spatially aware. And coaches are not permitted on the field. So we're not coaching on the field. The referee's on the field. You're on the sidelines. Parents also not on the field if that needed to be said. But yeah, all very self-explanatory. Okay, so the playing format, we're doing 4v4, which is why one of the main reasons we have rosters of 8. It makes everything very easy. 4v4, 4 10-minute quarters, which means when you're subbing, you do 2 groups, right? First group of 4 goes in for the first quarter, and then for the second quarter, that group comes out, the other group goes in. And then for the third quarter, after halftime, that group comes out, next group goes in. It kind of sets up a very fluid, it makes it easy. You don't have to manage time, nothing like that. And then if you happen to have only 7 players at a game, then you can kind of rotate who gets to play the extra quarter. And you can do that based off of who's showing up in practice, who has a good attitude. You can kind of use that as a reward to kind of motivate players to show the behavior we're looking for. And then play balance, kind of like what we said, right? Our core values is sportsmanship. Our priority is having fun. So if there's a team that doesn't have enough players, what we don't want to do is do 2v4 and then crush that other team, right? We want to make sure that everybody that is there, every kid has a positive experience. And that might be borrowing players, that might be playing 3v3 instead of 4v4. Sorry. Yeah, so case by case, but just work with the other coach, right? We are not prioritizing winning. We're not winning at all costs. We're trying to make sure these players have a good time. So those are kind of all your options there. You're encouraged to rotate your players in multiple positions. Don't have just one striker playing, one kid playing striker the whole time, right? We want to give everyone the opportunity to play everywhere. That's just going to get them more diversified experience. And then here's kind of just policies. Restarts are all kick-ins. There's no throw-ins. You can't score off of a kick-in. So if it's out and you're kicking it in, if it goes in the goal, it doesn't count. It must touch a second player before it goes in the goal. And then kickoffs, they can go in either direction. So sometimes people are like, you can only go forward. That's not the case. It can go forward, it can go backwards. Just everyone needs to be outside of that center circle. For goal kicks, place the ball in front of the goal. So it's not on the goal line beside the goal. Place it in front of the goal. And then the defending team needs to retreat to their half. So they have to be at the halfway line. And this just gives players time to build out. It kind of just creates an experience, an environment where players are set up to succeed. Nobody wants to get scored on right after they kick the ball in. It doesn't give them the time that they need to learn, to develop. So just take that into account. And then corners are taken from the corner. There's no offsides, there's no goalkeepers, and there's no cherry pickers. Okay. This is just kind of to create the environment we're looking for. We're trying to develop players in a positive way, to help them to work together, to connect. So we don't want one player all the way up here, one player all the way back there, and kicking it from one side of the field to the next. The competitive balance rule. So this is kind of what happens if one team's winning by a whole lot and one team's losing by a whole lot. If there's a team that's losing by 4 goals, then they can add another player into the field and make it 5v4. And then once, they kind of make their way back and it's reduced to 3, then that player is removed. And it's whatever player was added back on. So if Sally's on the bench and then there's a goal differential and she goes on, once that is reduced, you can't take someone else off. It has to be the same player. Yeah, and additionally, this kind of just goes back to sportsmanship, right? This happens in travel, this happens in everywhere. What do you do as a coach if your team is winning by a whole lot? This is actually a good opportunity for you guys to create a learning opportunity for your players to play a different way, right? We want to possess, we want to pass, we want to connect pass, we want to look for our teammates. We don't want to just get the ball, dribble to everyone and score. So this says the link team is expected to adjust their style to avoid running out the store, right? Rotate positions, play less developed players, add conditions. You have to score, you have to pass 3 times before you can score. You have to XYZ, right? Up to you. But just make sure that you as the coach, if you're winning by a whole lot, try and not win by more than you already are. Little safety, no slide tackling, no heading. If the heading is intentional, it's an indirect kick, which means that you can't score off of that kick, right? Someone else has to touch it. And then if it's unintentional, it's a drop ball to the other team. So the ref will just give it to the other team. Injuries, you can use the ice packs and first aid kits that you get. If it's on the field, if it's a major injury that needs to be stopped, the referee will stop the play. The coach can come on and the injured player can either come off or stay on. They don't have to come off just because the referee stopped the game. And then, yeah, you can enlist help from a parent if you would like. If you want to handle it yourself, you can do that too. That's up to you. So this is just a little bit about referees. If you coached with us last year, you know that there's a huge referee shortage. And why that's important for you to know is because we try and get a referee at every single game, but also know that referees are independent of law. It's a whole independent organization. So I'm not the one putting referees places. So if you are at a game where there isn't a referee, just know 2 things. One, it's going to happen from time to time because there's so few referees. And two, it's not us. We're not trying to sabotage you. But if you have multiple games in a row where you don't have ref, feel free to email me, and you can it says over here too. You can contact the referee coordinator too, and we can try and make it so that your team does have one the next time. So what we don't want is, even those referee shortages, we don't want the same team not having referee every single game, and then have other teams have one every single game, because that can happen. Since the way, I don't know if you guys know this, the way that referees work is they put all the games out, and then if you are a registered referee, you can go on and pick whichever games you want. So it's kind of random on which ones get picked, but we can try and move some things around. If you are like, we've had 3 games and no referee, email us and we can try and accommodate for you. The other thing, because there are so few referees, please be nice to them. Some will be good, some may not be so good, some may know exactly what they're doing, and some may be learning, and that's okay. But we want to make sure that we're not berating them and making them stop, because then that's one less referee we have for the next weekend. So this is kind of what I say. The referee may not be right, but the referee is never wrong. Okay, so if you don't agree or it's not the right call, it may not be right, but he is never wrong, right? So his call goes, and we're going to go with that. He is the boss. He's in charge, even if he's 13 years old and he could be your kid. His word is law. Okay. And we have a 0 tolerance policy towards referee abuse. So if we hear that you were not very kind to the referee and something went down, just know that we do have a zero tolerance policy for that. So just tread lightly. And then how can you help, right? If you have one of the referees that are not very great, right, are learning, how can you help that situation, right? Don't yell or criticize. Nobody wants to perform their best. Nobody wants to be your friend if you're yelling and berating them. You keep your focus on your team. A lot of times, like even with my team, if we don't have a good referee, I talk about what's in our control, right? What do we have control of? We have control over how we play, how we act. We do not have control over what the referee calls. So this is also just a good opportunity for us to teach them that in life, there's some things we don't control, right? But how we react is under our control. And then if something really does stand out, is really a problem, a referee is totally off the wall, then you can email me, Darren, Chris McKay, who is the referee coordinator, and we can work that out. So yeah, and then both for if there's anything bad that happens, but also if you have a referee that's really, really great and makes a lot of good calls, something that I say a lot is like, you always hear when something bad happens. Like people are always very quick to write when something negative has happened. They're not so quick to write when something good has happened. So if you have a really good referee who does something really well, let us know, because that's good too. Because everybody, 13-year-old Matt is really great. If he gets, word that he did a good job, like that's really good to hear. So yeah, let us know, email us. And then model appropriate behavior. And this goes back to, sportsmanship, how we want to treat our kids, how we want them to act. We model that. Whatever attitude or example we set is what they're going to, follow suit in. So we want to be a positive role model. We want to have, all those core values starts with what we do. So the coach is responsible for team and fan conduct. So if a parent on your team is going crazy, that's your domain. You got to wrangle them in. We don't want any confrontation with other players, other parents. Keep cool, walk away, and then let us know and we can take care of it. But we don't want the kids, like the last thing we want is for the kids to see 2 parents brawling on the sidelines. Like that's not going to create a good environment for them. That's not going to, create a positive experience for them. So let's just keep our focus on the kids, on the players, and what we want for them. Post-game kind of sportsmanship type things. So say good game to referee and to the other players. Say thank you to the parents. Clean your area, right? We don't want to come to a clean area and then leave it trashed, right? We want to get your team together, pick up your water bottle, pick up your stuff, make sure we're leaving it clean and then we found it, all that stuff. And then snacks, right? If you've read any of my emails, when that says all the expectations and roles, responsibilities of a coach, that the most important one is the snacks, right? Kids show up to the game before it's even started. asking where the oranges are. Okay. So you can handle that however you want, whether you want to be super organized and set up a sign up genius prior to the season starting and put it in your team email, or if you just want to go week by week. Hey, I brought it this week. Who wants to get next week? That works too, as long as somebody is bringing a snap, because that's important. Okay. And then report any serious issues to me. And then I can take it from there. If anything serious happens, any serious injuries, any serious confrontations, loop us in, because we want to, know about that. Yeah, and then just some more resources. We kind of talked about this a little bit, but resources for planning practices, for coaching. Go to the Coaching Education Resource Center, the Coaches Center on the website that we talked about. That's going to be your best tool for the season. And then me, you can go to me next. That's my email. And then Darren oversees everything. So if you need someone above me, go to him. And then for anything referees, questions, complaints, praises, that's Chris McKay's email there. And then lastly, just good luck. Thank you again for coaching. I know I said it at the beginning, but you don't have to volunteer, right? You're volunteering your time, which often comes with a sacrifice. So just thank you for making it possible for us to get all these kids on the field, because I know they really appreciate it. And we would have had a lot of sad first and second graders if no coaches volunteered. So just thank you. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. I think I did it. Okay, and then if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. I see someone already has their hand up. Let's see, it's 8:12, so we have a little bit of time for questions. And then if we don't get to your question, or you think of it later, go ahead and email me. If you've already emailed me and haven't heard yet, I promise I'm not ignoring you. It's just there are a ton of emails, so I will get to your email as soon as I can. I'm planning to kind of get through all the ones I have so far by tomorrow. So, but yeah, just email me and I can get to you. Matt, you have a question?
Yeah, hi. Good evening, everybody. Appreciate your time. Loudoun Soccer, appreciate you doing this. This is very helpful for the volunteers. Question in regards to practices it's Jamie Lawson who's the schedule guru with that?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And
anything.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Oh, you go
Anything
ahead.
involving practice times or fields or where you're practicing, you can email Jamie and she can hook you up with that.
Okay. Is it even feasible for a coach to potentially organize something outside of the schedule? Like if I know all my parents and can get out earlier, is that something that the Loudoun Soccer even considers, or is it I have to be on your guys' timetable, which is totally cool either way? So.
Yeah, don't schedule things just like on your own. If you do want to do something early, you can run that by Jamie, but don't just show up at a field, because you never know like what's going on. So yeah, just run that through Jamie.
Makes a lot of sense. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh gosh. Okay. And also, if I pronounce your name wrong, I'm so sorry in advance. Vishal?
Yes. Hi. Hi, Mac. So I have a question regarding the roster, right?
Yes.
I was looking at trying to export it, but I could not find a way, or I don't know if to export it so that I to get their email addresses.
How do you export the emails from your team page?
Yes.
Darren, do you know how to do that?
Yep. You click on the roster, and you should be able to then print the roster, and you just select the fields that you would like. So you select the names and the email addresses.
It didn't show up. It didn't show up for some reason. I don't know if you can walk through that. I think that would help.
Send me an email and I'll help you. It'll take too much time to walk through it right now.
And if you can share your email address in the chat, I would appreciate that.
Yeah. So
Yep, sure.
yeah. Also,
Thank you.
the slides will be available. So if you need any email addresses or anything that's on the slides, you'll have access to that too. Amin?
Hello, hi. Real quick. So I guess we'll have like half field, but will we have at least like 2 goals so we can play like a game? Because part of trying to teach them is to play on the field properly with the arcs and how to move back behind the line, that kind of stuff. So that's one question. The second question is, if there is no referee when we go to a game, what do we do? Do we ref ourselves or pick a ref?
Yeah, so each team is allotted one goal because there's 2 goals on the field. So each team gets half a field and 1 goal. If you want to organize, a scrimmage with the team that's on the field with you and you go and do a game that way, that's been done before. You can also set up goals with cones. That's something that I've done to also teach, dribbling. To get a point, you have to dribble through the cone. So there's different ways to do that, but we don't have enough space, enough goals to give every single team everything. So half a field, 1 goal. And then if you do not have a referee, that's actually a good question because I forgot to mention, you're gonna receive an email if you are not allowed a referee by Friday. We're gonna export that list and you'll receive an email letting you know that you don't have a referee, and you and the other coach will just referee yourselves. You can take one side, the other coach to the other side, or you can go one half, the other half, whatever you want. But yeah, you'll just referee that yourselves. But yeah. Arlie?
Yeah, I missed when you were talking about where the coaches stand. Are we allowed on the fields when the game is going on, or we're on the sidelines?
Yeah, so coaches are not allowed on the field during the game. So the coaches will be on one sideline and then the parents are on the other sideline.
Got it.
Nihal?
Yeah, hi, thanks. I had a quick question, just really regards to the refs and like they'll obviously be enforcing rules on the field, but will they be kind of like maybe doing a little bit of an explanation? Because I guess sometimes even at this age level, the kids may not quite have a full grasp of the rules, and so or is that just something that we kind of work with them over the course of the season?
Yeah, I think that will depend on your referee. Every referee is different. Some are really, really involved and others aren't. What I would encourage is just you go over those with your players. And if you do need to do an explanation when a call is made, you can do that. But I would definitely, before your first game, kind of go over the basic rules, because you may have a referee that doesn't do that. It just kind of depends on their personality, their comfort level, how experienced they are. But yeah, it's probably like a case-by-case basis for that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I would say your best bet is no to that question, to be honest with you, because just as your players will be young, all the referees are probably young that are coming in here and learning themselves. So if they do go and explain certain rules and things in the game, let us know, because they're obviously reffing then in the wrong place. We need to get those younger kids into higher levels because they are obviously good at what they do. But your answer is no. It would probably be up to you to explain certain things to your players.
Okay, sounds good.
TJ.
Thanks, Mac. Thanks, Darren. I think you're going to tell me to email Jamie Rawson, but I don't remember seeing any kind of an invitation to register, and I did join up kind of late. So just send her an email.
Register for your practice, like your practice request?
For practice, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I would just email her. It can be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday at 5 or 6. And I would send her your first preference and then your second preference. And then as soon as she gets that, she'll put you in and it'll show up in your team page.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Awesome. Cool.
Yep,
Well,
sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I missed it. You mentioned that there's something that we have to register for. Is it the fall festival or is it some other tournament or play?
Are you talking about the previous question?
No. During your presentation, you said there's do we have to register for the fall festival?
No. Yeah, no. For the fall festival, you don't have to register for. We're going to create a schedule. So just like it'll just show up in your team page. So I'll have the like that date for the fall festival. I'll tell you your game time. But yeah, you don't have to register for that.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
James.
Can you hear me, Mac?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, sorry, I think I was double muted.
Mhm.
Kind of piggybacking off of that last question, I did hear at one point you were talking about something where you want to give parents advance notice to make sure that they're signed up for. If it wasn't the fall festival, what was that you were referring to?
Oh, that's for the spring season. So the spring, this is the fall
Okay.
season. So the spring season registration is going to open in November. Yeah, that's true.
I got you. Thank you very
Mhm.
much. And then I think I passed my practice dates along to you. Do you know if those already got sent over? Do I need to send them to Jamie separately, or?
Do you have your first practice in your account?
I do not see it in my account, no.
Okay, then I will look through my email and I'll forward it to her if you already emailed it to me.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Anyone else?
I've got a question, sorry.
Yeah.
The away and the home jerseys, how's that determined? Did I miss that?
Yeah, home is red, away is white, and it should
I
be
got that.
in your team page when the schedule comes out. It should tell you which
Okay,
one you
all
are.
right.
Mhm.
Thanks.
And the game schedule goes up on the 31st.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, there's a little gap just to give people time to do things, but yeah. All right. Any last questions? You can also email if you have one that you think of later.
Hey, Mac, this is Ed Cook. Quick question for you.
Hey.
Are there any updated rules through FIFA? And also, you had mentioned about the goal kicks being in front of the goal. Normally, how I had my players is to do it from the side of the goal,
Mhm.
just so they could get a running start and kick the ball. And I thought the rule was the ball had to actually leave the arc before one of the strikers could receive it.
That's a good question.
It's an old rule, Ed.
Okay.
Yeah.
The ball doesn't have to leave the arc anymore. So
Okay, cool.
the opposition players just have to be behind the halfway line.
Awesome. Perfect.
Yeah. If the other team's behind the halfway line, it'll probably already be out of the arc by the time they get there. Anyway.
Awesome. Thanks, Mac. Thanks, Darren.
Yeah, no problem. All right. Any last questions? If you have them, you can keep them coming. Hi.
Hi, just one quick question. For coaches, our own apparel, I mean, it just basically soccer shorts, track pants, shoes. It just basically be comfortable and be able to run around, right?
Well, Darren, correct me if I'm wrong, we have shirts for them.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll have a shirt for you to wear. Everything else is up to you.
Okay, and when would we be getting those then, along with our equipment pickup?
Yeah. Mhm.
Excellent. Thank you much.
No problem. Anyone else?
Sorry, I have one question too.
Yeah.
My team schedule hasn't came out, but like the practices aren't in our calendar either. Are those coming out with the schedules, or are they already supposed to be in there?
Did you put in your practice request already?
Yeah, I put it out when it like first came out.
Okay, then I would email Jamie again. When she pulled all of them, it may have gotten missed. So I would just email your request to her directly, and she can get that in for you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Right now, the only one out is the first week, and then after the first week of practices, she'll release all the other ones. That's just so that if any changes need to be happen, she can just make the changes before it's posted.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
Yes, I have one quick question. Do assistant coaches get also shirts as well?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right. Anyone else?
Yeah, one more question. Sorry.
You're good.
If we're coaching multiple teams, so I guess on the equipment pickup date, do I go to each session, or can I probably pick up most of the equipment at once, or I'll have to figure that out later?
Yeah, you could probably pick up your equipment at the same time. That shouldn't be a problem. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there'll just be a bunch of tables out, so you just go to the right table.
Hi, this is Manish. I just have one question.
Uh-huh.
You said about videos or some training to be completed. So what exactly is it?
The safe sport training, if you go into your team page, it'll prompt you to do that. That's the only one you need to do. But yeah, if you go into your account, if you haven't done it yet, it'll prompt you to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And if you have problems, you can email us, but it should be there.
I just have a question as well. Is there a makeup week for this league or not for fall?
There's no makeup week, but we will work if there's a game that gets canceled, we'll work to reschedule that game, but it's not.
Okay. So do we not have to keep October 29th, like the following week on the calendar that is open? Like that's not like a built-in makeup week or anything. We're done the 22nd.
Darren, do we have that makeup week at the end for Rec 1?
That is a makeup if we have excessive cancellations like we did in the spring. But if we have one day of cancellations, we will make up the games during the week like we have in the past.
Okay, thank you.
I have a quick question about assistants. If I'd requested when I volunteered to be a head coach that I get an assistant, if they are not, if no one else is listed on the team page, does that mean no one volunteered to be an assistant?
Yeah, so in each division, assistant coaches are parents who volunteered to be an assistant coach. So if there's not one listed, that probably means that no one volunteered. What I would do is in your team welcome email is ask them, be like, hey, I could really use an assistant coach. And then at your first practice, if you see somebody who's really involved and really eager, just kind of pull them in and have them be your assistant and then get them registered. Usually what I find is that once somebody's the head coach, they don't have to have that title. People are really, really willing to volunteer. So I would go to your team first and ask if anyone can do that.
Okay, then you don't need to respond to my email.
Okay. Jeffrey?
I had a question regarding sending out the team email. Is that done going through the website, or does that come from my personal email or something like that?
You should be able to export your team emails from the team page, and you can do that way. That might be the easiest way.
Yeah, and then I'll just send it from my personal email.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. I don't want to use up any more of your guys' time. So if you have any other questions that we didn't get to or you have later, just send me an email and I will get to you. Usually, like if you sent an email and I haven't gotten to it yet, usually it doesn't take this long. So just know that it'll be a timely manner. There's just a lot of them right now. So yeah, just shoot me an email and I will get back to you as soon as I can. All right. Well, you guys have a great rest of your night. It's 8:30. Go live it up. And if you have need anything throughout the season, just let me know. I'm here for you. I'm here to support you. So don't hesitate to reach out. Okay. All right.
Appreciate you
Bye,
guys.
everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.